Tomorrow, the 112th Congress will be sworn in. The House members will read the entire Constitution aloud, and that's a good sign. But will they then honor it? And will the Tea Party-backed candidates who helped put the GOP in power stay true to the principles that got them elected? Or will they be co-opted by the big-spending, big government establishment that makes Republicans and Democrats too often seem like the same party? Here now, my friend and colleague, and the inimitable host of the Beck program on the Fox News Channel, whose latest book went on sale today, The Seven Wonders That Will Change Your Life. Glenn Beck. Glenn, it's a pleasure.
Thanks, sir.
Welcome here. What will happen if the Republicans blow it again? If they become the party of big government again?
Might as well call them the Whigs. They will be over. I heard Michael Steele today say, you know, I raised all this money. I got people elected. No, you didn't, Michael. No, you didn't. Republicans didn't get anybody elected, in my opinion. The American people were tired of the left, and they gave the Republicans one last shot. One last shot.
You have never hesitated to predict doom if you see it coming. You've been warning us about doom, and some of your predictions have eerily come true.
Almost all of them.
Do you think that the Republican Party will co-opt the Tea Partiers, or do you think that they will stay true to their principles?
You know what? I haven't looked at that, and I haven't thought about it, Judge, so I don't know. I don't hold a lot of hope out for politicians and parties. But the people are not going to change.
The people will not change because they have an ardent leftist in the White House.
Doesn't matter.
As many acolytes.
The jig is up. It's over. It's over. We're no longer. We've been playing this game for 100 years, where we think we've been offered another choice and we haven't been. Judge, I used to think you were crazy. I did. I used to think that people like you. I remember after September 11th, I'm like, oh please, that'll never happen. I'm telling you, Judge, you were right. I was wrong at the time, and Americans are waking up. Once we're awake, it's over. I said on my program today, the chickens wouldn't take the free food from Frank Perdue if they knew who Frank Perdue was.
Right.
The chickens are beginning to understand who Frank Perdue is. Don't eat the free food.
You talked about government creating a crisis so that it will give free food so that it will have control over us. Switching gears a little bit, one of the decisions the Congress is going to have to make very soon is raising the debt ceiling. President Barack Obama has borrowed nearly $4 trillion in 2 years in office. Can Republicans stand steadfast and say no? Because if the House says no, it won't happen. Or will the Christmas tree ornaments pick them off one by one?
This is the hardest thing for me to decide in my own mind. This is one of the things that I'm glad I'm not a member of Congress. Because the day they say we will not raise the debt ceiling, the rest of the world flees from America, I believe. They say, oh my gosh, because we owe that money. Okay, you can't pay the debt.
I understand
that. Now, hang on just a second. So that means we crash things, which I believe is inevitable. But I don't think America's prepared for it. But I believe it's inevitable that it is going to happen at some point. If you do raise the debt ceiling, have we learned any lesson at all?
We have not.
No.
It's an easy one.
So
it's an easy one for me. The debt ceiling should not be raised. It's the president's job to spend the money that he collects.
But when you say that, you know what that means.
I do know what that means.
Explain what it means.
That means that there won't be enough money to pay the troops. It means that there won't be enough money to pay Social Security. It means the government will have to make very hard choices, and that's what we elected them to do.
And you do know that the rest of the world, our monetary system could collapse at that point. It's going to anyway.
I also know that nobody will lend us money in the future, and we will have to stick within our means.
Yes.
Something you've been preaching for years.
Yes. My only fear on that is that the American people don't really understand what that means. That means really tough times. That is the, what was it, the two guys that passed the act.
Glass-Steagall?
No. Back in the Depression, that was the trade war that really caused the great Smoot-Hawley. That is the Smoot-Hawley. It seemed innocent, but was not.
I think they'll get the debt ceiling through because the president will buy off the Republicans with some nonsense.
And that will be the beginning of the end of the Republicans.
We have also talked about some fears in 2011. Here's one of my fears: a backdoor bailout of the states by the Federal Reserve. New York, New Jersey,
yes.
California. That's $100 billion right there.
It's going to happen. It's already happening in Europe. It's going to happen in the United States. You already have the new act where they're going to protect us as consumers. The new Consumer Protection Act. That's all through the Fed. Here's a government agency going right through the Fed, so they cannot defund it.
A front door bailout of Europe by the Fed.
Yes. Yes.
Is there any way we can stop that?
No.
I don't know of any under the law.
The Fed is not federal. It's not part of the federal government. It's a private business. So what business do we have with the Fed? But more importantly, what business does the Fed have with us? They are controlling our life. They're controlling our life.
Rates. It controls the value of everything we own.
You and I both know, and this honestly, 15 years ago, 10 years ago, was where I thought, okay, crazy territory. It's not. The Fed is a big, if not the main cancer in the system.
The favorite tax of the European socialists, the VAT the value-added tax.
Yeah.
You know President Obama is going to push for it. Do you think he picks off enough Republican votes to get this through? A national sales tax?
Yes. Yes, a VAT tax that will kill us. For about 3 days a couple of years ago, I said, a VAT tax to pay off the debt, destroy everything, but put it in the Constitution that, it's death penalty. When you pay off that debt, you cannot incur any more debt, and then it's over. I was for that for about 3 days. You can't trust these people with anything.
I think you're going to break your own record of having 2 books on the bestseller list several times within a very short period of time. The Seven Wonders that will change your life. I think I have one of the first copies of it. I think this came out today, Glenn Beck.
This is part of my theory that we must have a personal revolution and we will change the country. We must restore ourselves to restore the country.
Dare I ask, is this about Glenn Beck's personal revolution?
This is
because your co-author is a psychiatrist.
Yeah, Keith Abloh asked me about a year ago. He said, how did you do this? And I told him, and it is the answer for people, but also for the country. And we co-wrote it. I wrote what I did, found through common sense, and he wrote the second half of each chapter saying, this is why this is true, this is why it works. It's an amazing personal story.
I love it when you come here. Glenn, it's a pleasure.
Thanks for